Well, good Sunday morning to everybody. Looking forward to our time together this morning. It's always an adventure, isn't it? It's great hanging out with family. Um, I just looked at what the reading was. I forget the chapters. Um, but again, we're looking at the Last Supper with Jesus. And here you'll notice that Jesus is talking about his betrayer, the one who will his heart will be affected by the father of lies, the betrayer, the enemy, and this is going to infect Judas's heart to the point where he just betrays, just gives up on that relationship and looks for his own advantage. There are some who will say that he's looking to provoke Jesus, and I wasn't there, so I can't say whether or not. But I do know that the word says that he was infected by the betrayer of brethren and the father of lies, and so his heart was deceived. And then we have um, Peter, Peter who also denied Jesus. But we find here at this time of gathering, this last meal that Jesus was having with them, that Jesus speaks into Peter's life and he encourages him and he tells him um, that he is going to betray him. They're all going to scatter. Um, but when they come together, the Peter had the responsibility of encouraging the others. So right away, he spoke into something beyond the betrayal. He spoke into Peter's life of the hope that Peter can hold on to. But he didn't speak into Judas's life at all. And the reason is because there was a difference in the two betrayals. One is that Judas's heart had gone cold. Well, let's deal with Peter first of all. Peter's betrayal happened in a time of confusion, of fear, and really of self-preservation. It wasn't a matter that there was any deception in Peter's heart. It was more of he couldn't make sense of anything. He said that he was willing to die with Jesus, and he was prepared to. He used the sword to try to defend Jesus, and Jesus stopped him. And this confused everybody, and they just ran after that. As soon as Jesus stopped them from standing with him, defending him, and was giving himself willingly into the hands of this mob, um, they all scattered. And Peter had presence of mind, at least to follow. He wanted to know what was going to happen, and so he followed. And it was there in that setting when those gathered around that trial were accusing Peter of being a follower of Jesus, and Peter, in that confusion, not knowing what was going on, in the night, because this happened at night, in the night, tired, fearful, alone, um, he fell into self-preservation and denied that he knew anything about Jesus. That's repairable. That's not a hope that is not a heart that's lacking love. That's a heart that's filled with fear, and there's brokenness there, but it's a repairable brokenness. That relationship can be restored. Whereas Peter was a spur of the moment, like thinking on his feet type of thing. Whereas Judas, it was well, he plotted. He plotted with the Pharisees and the guards. He plotted with them. They worked this out. It was a conspiracy that was happening. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing, and Judas was paid for this. This became a job for him, and he betrayed Jesus in that token of friendship, of that greeting of friendship, and yeah, that heart wasn't just broken, it was cold. It was cold. The enemy had come in, deceived him. He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And that heart was just cold. So that when he realized, when he actually woke up to the realization of what he had done. It was more about how it affected him. He had betrayed an innocent man. It wasn't about the innocent man. It was the fact that he had betrayed him. And he saw no hope because the relationship had gone cold. Uh, Peter held on to Jesus' words. He held on to what Jesus prophesied into his life. He held on to the teachings of Jesus, whereas Judas just had gone cold. Nothing made any sense to him. He saw no hope whatsoever. And so he tried to redeem himself by killing himself. Judas didn't understand that Jesus was the answer. Peter understood. Peter did not try to redeem himself. Jesus redeemed him. Jesus on that beach redeemed him. He forgave him. He gave Judas opportunity, or not Judas, sorry, Peter opportunity to speak of his love 3 times compared to how he had betrayed him 3 times. But Judas never even sought that out. He removed himself from the equation completely as he tried to redeem himself by killing himself. So there's a difference. And this is what we need to understand, that when we deny Jesus, and when we do that, when we enter back into a rebellious act, I call sin rebellion because it's easier for people to understand that. There's too much baggage that comes with the title of sin. We understand it to be sin, but sin is that a rebellious act, what we do against God. And so when we fall into that, when we're weak and we fall into that rebellion, we need to understand that doesn't mean that we don't love Jesus. It means that in that weakness, in that moment, a brokenness happened in the relationship, and it's repairable. But we've all met people who have allowed the lies of the enemy to enter in, and their hearts have gone cold. And there's no redemption there because they're not seeking it. They're trying to find their own redemption, and they're not seeking it in Jesus Christ. So we have to make sure that we keep this relationship alive, because as much as you love the Lord now, you can let that grow cold through circumstances, through fears, through anxieties. If you persist in those things, it can separate you, and then you entertain the lies of the enemy more, and yeah, that coldness and emptiness can come in. And why would we ever want to ignore this relationship? Why would we want to let it go cold when Jesus is life, when he is our joy, when he is our peace? So that doesn't make any sense. But sometimes we do. Busyness, carelessness, we can let it go. And before you know it, we're in trouble because we're washed in a sea of fear and anxiety and worry, because we've let go of the peace. So there you go. It's going to be a good day. You guys be blessed, be encouraged, and I will see you soon.